Have you seen a video online or heard news headlines that are sending shivers down everyone's spine? Turns out, a horrifying new cartel video has been exposed online. A bone-chilling video has surfaced, showcasing a brutal declaration of war by the infamous Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG for short, against their sworn enemies, El Migueladas and his gang. This footage has sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld, serving as a stark reminder of the ongoing cartel conflict that relentlessly plagues Mexico. This video, shrouded in darkness and brimming with menace, offers a rare and horrifying glimpse into the escalating war between two of Mexico's most notorious cartel, the ruthless Jalisco New Generation Cartel, and their fierce rivals, the El Migueladas Cartel. Mexico, a land of rich culture and stunning beauty, also bears the scars of violent wars waged by powerful criminal organizations. These cartels are ruthless entities, willing to stop at nothing to dominate their rivals, often resulting in brutal and bloody conflicts. The latest video that's emerged isn't just a declaration of war, it's a chilling testament to the cruelty and terror these groups unleash upon the world. The video, which has gone viral across social media platforms, opens with a night scene, punctuated by the flickering beams of flashlights. The setting appears to be a remote, rugged area, possibly a forest or a deserted rural region, illuminated only by the artificial light held by the figures present. As the video progresses, it becomes clear that this is a meticulously orchestrated display of power and intimidation. The camera, shaky but clear, pans across a large group of heavily armed men, all clad in military-style uniforms and tactical gear. Their faces are obscured by balaclavas and helmets, ensuring anonymity. The men stand in a semicircle, their postures rigid and disciplined, resembling a well-trained paramilitary unit. This large gathering of heavily armed CJNG gunmen is led by their leader, also known as Chito Cano. The tense atmosphere underscores the gravity of the situation, making it abundantly clear that this is not a mere territorial dispute, but a full-blown war. A spokesperson for the CJNG, whose identity remains hidden, delivers a passionate address to the camera, detailing the alleged atrocities committed by El Migueladas and his associates. The threats issued by the CJNG are chilling, leaving no doubt about their unwavering determination to eliminate their rivals. The CJNG vows to show no mercy, promising to hunt down the Migueladas and his gang one by one, wiping them from existence. This video serves as a rallying cry, urging the public to join forces with the CJNG in their fight against El Migueladas. The CJNG spokesperson, his face obscured, ignites the camera with fiery passion. He details the alleged atrocities committed by their sworn enemies, the El Migueladas Cartel, led by Miguel Ángel Galgos Godoy, also known as El Migueladas. With unwavering conviction, he declares their intention to eradicate their rivals. Your reign of terror ends now. We will hunt you down one by one until there's no trace of your existence. Your days are numbered, and the people will rise against you, warns the spokesperson. This video is a blatant call to arms, urging the public to side with the CJNG in their war against El Migueladas. To grasp the gravity of the situation, let's delve into the history of these cartels and the territories they control. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel, led by the enigmatic Nemesio Ceguera Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, has skyrocketed to power since its inception in 2009. Notorious for their brutality and vast criminal network, the CJNG has established itself as one of Mexico's most powerful and ruthless cartels. El Mencho's rise to power has been paved with extreme violence, and the CJNG's influence stretches far beyond drug trafficking. They are involved in arms dealing, human trafficking, kidnapping, and money laundering, making them a global criminal empire. On the opposing side, we have Miguel Ángel Galgos Godoy, or El Migueladas. Once a member of the CJNG, he broke away to form his own organization, carving out his own slice of the drug trade. El Migueladas, known for his ruthlessness and cunning strategy, has proven to be a formidable opponent. While Miguel Ángel Galgos may not be a household name, like other infamous crime lords, his life, crimes, and position in the world of organized crime are undeniably shocking. Galgos' rise to power is a story of cunning and deception. He built a criminal empire while masquerading as a successful farmer. His web of connections to powerful politicians and influential figures granted him years of impunity. The roots of this bloody conflict stretch back to 2006, when then-President Felipe Calderón declared war on drug cartels with a military crackdown. This aggressive campaign triggered a wave of violence that continues to spiral upward, as cartels engage in in brutal battles for control of lucrative drug routes and territories. The CJNG has a long and bloody reputation for using violence to maintain dominance and eliminate their rivals. They are responsible for countless massacres and killings, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. Their most significant adversary is the Sinaloa Cartel, currently led by El Chapo's sons, known collectively as Los Chapitos. The fight for control of these lucrative drug corridors and territories between these two cartels has unleashed a surge of violence and instability across Mexico. The CJNG's rapid rise has placed them in direct confrontation with other powerful cartels, including the once dominant Sinaloa Cartel. The rivalry between CJNG and Sinaloa has been particularly brutal, with battles over key territories leading to numerous casualties and widespread chaos. The consequences of this ongoing conflict are far-reaching. As cartels clash for supremacy, the impact on local communities is catastrophic. Innocent civilians frequently become collateral damage, and entire towns are crippled by fear and uncertainty. This vital video serves as a stark reminder of the brutal reality endured by many in Mexico. The CJNG's message is unambiguous. They are relentless in their pursuit to eradicate El Migueladas and his gang. This declaration of war is not mere posturing. The CJNG has a proven track record of following through on their threats with lethal precision. The CJNG's operations are characterized by their military-style tactics and heavily armed gunmen. Their proficiency in executing coordinated attacks and outmaneuvering rivals has solidified their reputation as a formidable force in the criminal underworld. So who exactly is El Migueladas, and how would this guy climb the criminal ladder so fast? Well, he wasn't always a big shot. Galgos comes from a regular family back in Michoacán, and for a while, that's exactly how he appeared, a successful farmer. But underneath that whole wholesome facade, he was building something else entirely, a criminal empire. His rise to power happened around the same time the Knights Templar cartel, once the big dogs in Michoacán, were starting to crumble. Galgo saw his chance and used his cunning and some clever alliances to wiggle his way right into the top ranks of the criminal world. And let's just say, he had a knack for making friends in high places, powerful people, including politicians. There are even reports that Galgos funded campaigns for governors, mayors, and the whole lot. Basically, he bought himself protection and support from high-ranking officials. This network of powerful friends definitely helped him operate under the radar for a long time. But let's be clear, his rise wasn't exactly sunshine and rainbows. The violence and extortion that come with his criminal activities have left a deep scar on the region. Businesses forced to pay up, people living in constant fear. That is the reality for those stuck under El Miguelada's thumb. Now, with this video going viral, the CJNG is making it very clear. El Migueladas is enemy number one, and they are coming for him. Their message might resonate with the people who are tired of the violence and corruption, but let's not sugarcoat it. The road ahead is dangerous and uncertain. This whole situation with the CJNG's video is just the latest chapter in a much bigger story, the story of cartel violence in Mexico. For years, different cartels have been locked in brutal wars for control, from the Sinaloa's cartel's bloody battles with the Gulf Cartel to the ongoing fight between the CJNG and their rivals. The roots of these conflicts actually stretch back to the 1980s, with the rise of the Guadalajara Cartel. This cartel, founded by Miguel Ángel Félix Gallardo, basically laid the groundwork for some modern drug trade in Mexico. But of course, power struggles and outside pressure eventually tore it apart. And one key moment that really shook things up, the murder of DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena back in 1985. His brutal death sparked a massive crackdown and ultimately led to the downfall of Félix Gallardo's empire. With that power vacuum, new cartels emerged, each one hungry for the top spot. So out of the ashes of this fallen cartel empire, new players rose to power. One of these big names was the Sinaloa Cartel, led by the infamous Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán. Under El Chapo's watch, the Sinaloa Cartel became a global powerhouse, one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world. But of course, nobody stays on top forever, and they constantly face challenges from rival groups, including the up-and-coming becoming CJ&G. Fast forward to today, and the CJ&G's relentless climb to the top has put them head-to-head with El Migueladas. This is a high-stakes game, and the violence has gotten worse than ever, especially in places like Colima, Chiapas, and Zacatecas. Take Colima for example. The fight for control over drug routes there has basically turned the whole state into a war zone. The location is key, especially the port of Manzanillo, which makes it a prime target for cartels. People who live there are constantly on edge with these criminal groups going at it. Chiapas, right by the Guatemalan border, is another hotspot. This region is crucial for smuggling drugs, weapons, and even people. The CJ&G and other cartels are locked in a brutal fight to control this getaway to Central America, and it's leading to a lot of bloodshed. Zacatecas is another place where things have gotten really bad. Its location makes it important for moving drugs north, and the rough terrain with all those highways makes it a valuable territory for cartels. So, it's no surprise that things are getting constantly violent there. But this video by the CJ&G is not just about flexing their muscles, it's a mind game too. The graphic content of those threats they are throwing around, it's all meant to scare people and show who's the boss. This is a typical tactic for cartels, trying to break the spirits of their rivals and control how everyone sees the situation. Experts say these videos serve a few purposes. They scare their enemies, get their supporters fired up, and send a message to both the authorities and the public. By controlling the narrative, cartels like the CJ&G can shape how people think and keep themselves in power. These videos are carefully crafted to make them look strong and ruthless. They want everyone to believe they are invincible, unstoppable. They want to be seen as the ultimate authority, the ones who call the shots without anyone being able to stop them. Since this video dropped, things have gotten way worse. The CJ&G has gone into overdrive against El Migueladas, and the violence has spiked. There are reports of clashes, ambushes, and targeted killings everywhere you look. And guess who's caught in the middle? Yup, the regular people who are just trying to live their lives. Local residents live in constant fear. The sound of gunfire is a regular occurrence, and they never know when the next attack will happen. Their lives are in turmoil, and there seems to be no end in sight. The government's effort to curb this violence are often undermined by corruption and the sheer power of these cartels. It's a complex and dangerous situation that requires a multifaceted approach to resolve. They've sent in the military and police to try and take down the cartels, but these criminal organizations are getting more sophisticated all the time. It's hard to keep up, and to make matters worse, there are even corrupt officials into these law enforcement helping out these cartels. It's a mess. Over the years, they've tried everything. Full-on military force, taking out cartel leaders one by one, but nothing seems to work for long. These cartels have deep roots, and they are good at adapting and coming back stronger. Some experts say that the real answer lies in getting to the root of the problem. We need to tackle corruption, create more jobs, and make the justice system stronger. If we don't address these underlying issues, then even if they win a battle here or there, it all just comes back around. The impact of this cartel violence goes way beyond Mexico's borders too. Drugs are fueling addiction and crime all over the world, and people are being trafficked and exploited. It's a global problem. To really understand how things got so bad and what we can do about it, we need to dig deeper. We need to explore the history of these cartels, how corruption fuels their power, the psychological impact this violence has on people, and how other countries are responding. So, back to the CJ&G. This cartel came out of nowhere in 2009 and started growing fast and furious. They used to be part of a different group, the Milenio Cartel, but they broke away and saw their chance to grab power when other cartels were weakening. You could say that they filled the void with ruthless efficiency. What really helped them climb the ladder? Controlling key smuggling routes and cooking up massive amounts of drugs, especially meth. Their reach grew across multiple states, and they built a reputation for being scary and brutal. But here's the twist. They also try to win people over in these areas they control. They hand out basic necessities and even some cash to poor communities. This is also a tactic that some terrorist groups use. Make people like you, or at least depend on you, so it's harder for the government to come and intervene. So now, what exactly is the biggest problem in stopping these cartels and eliminating their activities for good? The answer: corruption. These cartels are known for either bribing or threatening law enforcement personnel and government officials. Their list of those whom they want or need to bribe or threaten includes anyone who creates hurdles for them in running the operation smoothly. The level of corruption in these cartel-controlled areas is insane, from local cops all the way up to high-ranking officials. Many are either playing ball with the cartels or too scared to do anything about them. This deep-rooted corruption makes it really hard for the authorities to enforce any laws effectively. Those who live under cartel rule are likely to experience living with a constant threat of violence and the absolute brutal display of cynical power. Living in such an environment leaves people scared and helpless, and it's not just the adults we're talking about here. Think about what it can do to kids growing up in this environment, where violence is just a normal part of their life. It can lead to serious problems like anxiety, depression, or even PTSD. When it comes to cartel violence, it's important to acknowledge that it's not just Mexico's problem. It affects everyone. More often than not, these drugs end up in countries like the United States, and these countries do have a stake in stopping these organizations. The Drug Enforcement Agency, or DEA, works with Mexican authorities attempting to disrupt the drug flow and take down these trafficking networks, but it's not easy. These cartels are clever and adaptable, and these operations are complex. The negative impact of events transitions over to the economy as well. You see, such events mean that businesses get squeezed for protection money, which hurts the economy and discourages investment. In addition, tourism, which is a major source of income for many Mexican states, suffers a lot because nobody wants to take a vacation in a war zone. It's essential to comprehend that such an evident lack of options can push people towards crime just to survive, and all that does is feed the cycle of violence. So, what's the right answer here? Well, to be honest, there's no easy fix. We need to strengthen the justice system, create economic opportunities, and work together internationally to tackle this problem. It's a complex issue, but it's one we cannot ignore. To eradicate such problems, a long-term solution is what's needed. Experts believe that throwing police force at the problem might not be the right answer. The solution to such a problem needs to be centered on Mexico digging deeper and addressing the root causes that give rise to cartel violence. In practicality, this means giving the population better jobs, better educational institute, more opportunities, and so on. However, it's worth mentioning here that all of this still might not be enough. An additional step that's needed here is Mexico cracking down corruption on all levels. This includes the bottom of the rung all the way to the top. It's imperative to give communities the resources they need to have a fighting chance. The CJNG declaring war on Almigueladas is not a good sign. The only thing they can possibly mean is trouble for all involved. Based on the information available at the moment, it can be said that it's probably just the beginning of something that, in reality, is much bigger, more violent, and all across Mexico. As these much too powerful cartels get all locked up in a brutal fight centered around control, many who are innocent can get hurt. Amid this crisis, one that remains uncertain is the future of Mexico, where innocent civilians are going to be the ones getting caught in the middle. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, please give it a like y suscríbete. Subscribe, it's free.